Welcome to the Nate Real Midwest podcast. I am your host, Nathaniel M. Olson. What a day! Spring is finally has reached the Midwest, while the southern coasts are getting hit with snow like nobody crazy. Elsa must have went down there and got you guys with snow. News media breakout today. Pam Bondi did an excellent speech at the House Oversight Committee as people start complaining as much more. Facebook Democrats had nothing else to say when the Epstein files came out, but had the lot to blame Trump on the flip side. That's actually what they wanted to do. But I wanted to look very closely at the answers that we're having today that are coming forth of the Nate Real Midwest podcast. The Minnesota legislature starts very, very soon, and I am excited. So that's gonna what we're gonna talk about today. I'm going to give you guys some hope as a disability advocate for the state of Minnesota when we're talking about the Minnesota legislature. I'm so excited. I cannot count my blessings. I always have a countdown when the Minnesota legislature starts, and I always have a countdown when it ends, and I am so excited to go back. I just cannot wait. There are days that I just sit in that bed. I'm like, I want to be at the Capitol testifying against the Fraud Oversight Committee. So let's talk about that. What are we going to expect? What are we going to expect? I think we're going to expect a whole lot from the Minnesota legislature. I think we're going to see a lot of changes. I think we're going to see a lot of people quit. I'm guessing the Senate is going to go to a tie. I think the Senate's going to be here. Right now it is 34-33. And the one thing that I don't like, one senator, and I hate to call him out. I've had a great relationship with him, but there's just one senator that a state senator who's the chairman, who literally said, "You address me, then you addressed him." First of all, I'm going to say something very quick, very, very simple. And I don't know if the senator is going to be watching my podcast at all, but I'm going to say something very simple. You work for the people. You work for the people. You do not think that you can sit on that gavel, have that gavel, and be king, and think you're sitting on a throne. You work for the people. That was a mistake. And how dare you? How dare you? Literally act like that in front of the whole division of television that people can see you. How dare you? That was highly disrespectful, and I hope you get removed for that. I hope there's articles of impeachment of your disrespect because you work for the people. I would never, ever catch the Republican Party or Madam Chair Kristen Robbins ever acting like that as you acted in front of the Minnesota Senate. You were a spectacle. And the reason why I'm calling it a spectacle, because I did not like your attitude. It was rude, it was disrespectful, and you know it. So you owe that person an apology, and I hope you are literally held accountable for what you did. Because if I was governor and you acted like that, you would have been immediately removed. Removed. You're lucky that Walz is not calling you out. But I'm going to call you out because I do not like disrespect at all. I don't. I don't like people sitting in office and thinking that they own the place. You work for the people. You're not, yeah, you might be the chairman with this freaking gavel. That doesn't mean anything. What means to me that you work for the people. And the whole negativity about the Department of Human Services, oh, stop begging for answers. Please stop begging for answers. Literally. No, there is constructive criticism, and you're going to accept it. Oh, it's better to have a positive note. I don't care if it's better to have a positive note. I don't. What I care about is this fraud being solved and stuff. What I care about is this fraud being solved. And it is so funny that we're sitting here, and while you are causing a spectacle across the Minnesota Senate, it doesn't matter to me. How dare you? Somebody made a mistake. We don't worship you. Like, what's going on with people? People are taking their position so high. Like, one mistake that the Senate did was so crazy that it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. Can somebody explain that to me? Like, can somebody sit there and explain to me why the senator did it? Because if I was a chairman, I would just let it go. I would. But it seems like people want answers. It seems like people want power. They want to be recognized. Oh, I was almost unalived, so you're going to address me. Now, yes, I'm sorry that you got unalived, but I have lost the most disrespect with that person speaking like that, the way that he did. And that's the problem that I have. And I'm sorry that people are not going to like me for that. And I'm sorry that I'm going to hurt some Democratic feelings. But I'm sorry. I know what respect is. And that senator did not have the respect. John Hoffman, Senator Hoffman, you owe that person an apology, and you owe the American people an apology. I mean, the Minnesota people, I call it the American people because we're all Americans, but you owe a Minnesota people an apology. Because highly, what I was seeing, that was rude. Very rude. And if you did that to me, oh, I bet you bottom dollar, I will be exposing you on my podcast, and I will have that video blasting all over. And the support that I'm going to get is going to probably make you lose your election for next term. So you think you can win 2026. But if you try to think that you're going to disrespect me because I didn't represent you or say, Mr. Chairman, and go to answer the question to a different senator, show me the respect. Show me the respect that you have for the Minnesota people. It is not all about you. This gavel does not mean that you have power. You work for the Minnesota people. And if you don't want to show that you work for the Minnesota people, then why are you a senator? Why are you a senator? Everybody's asking me what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Senator John Hoffman's extreme political power of rudeness, thinking that, oh, you need to address me before you talk to a senator. That was on the Democratic side. I have never saw that on the I never saw that on the Republican side. I saw it on the Democrat side. Let's talk about the Minnesota governor race. It's very, very tight right now. Lisa Demuth is leading the polls. Our sincere condolence to Jeff Johnson and his family. You probably heard on the news. That was very, 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 very sad. Keep them in their prayers. His daughter is sadly gone, but his daughter is with the Lord. And that was just very sad news. And he dropped out of the race. Let's go to the Minnesota governor race and the feelings that I have right now. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. It's going to be. It's going to be very, very interesting race. I don't know how we're getting this far, how more candidates are dropping in. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. And I'm going to say that it's going to be a very interesting race. I don't know if I will be in the state of Minnesota when this race is going on or when the election is, but what I'm looking at is it's probably going to be a Mike Lindell run, I think. I was looking at some polls that he's leading in the primary. Lisa Demuth is coming in second. Lisa Demuth is coming in first. Kendall Walz is coming in second, and then Mike Lindell is coming in third. So this is, I don't know. I don't know. Is he going to win the primary? Can he make it to the primary? Are all of these other senators going to make it in the primary? I mean, I don't know. The Nate Real Midwest podcast doesn't have an answer on. I'm going to bring up a guest. Somebody wants to ask me a question, and I want to know what that question is. Welcome in, sir. Welcome to the.
Nate, you would really vote for Mike Lindell after the January event?
The Nate Real. Well, I have not. Did I say I was going to vote for Mike Lindell?
Like, I'm just hearing you, like, especially reading these files, seeing Pam Bondi yesterday. Like, I'm surprised anybody is actually supporting the Republican Party anymore. Like, I believe that was an utter failure by the DOJ yesterday. It didn't do no justice to victims of these essays. The accountability is lacking with holding anybody accountable, especially when it comes to her saying that this ring would bring down our system. I don't care about our system. If it means our system falling to the ground because we're protecting victims, I think it needs to fall.
So a lot of people are asking. No, I did not say who I was voting for. I hope you were listening to the podcast very straight up forward. I have not made my decision who I am voting for. I do have a candidate in mind that I'm going to
support him.
I do have a candidate in mind that I am looking towards voting for, but nobody's going to know who I'm going to vote for. It depends if I'm going to be in the state any longer. I mean, I think the problem is people are just jumping to conclusions. There's a process, and there's a lot of stuff that I can say about the people that you might think are still here that might not be, but the process is I don't know. What I'm looking at and what I'm reading and what I'm seeing is Mike Lindell might win the primary because of the endorsement from Donald J. Trump. Now, all the other candidates, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I'm doing a live podcast. This is the first time I've had guests on my podcast before, so thank you. This is what I'm going to say. I have not looked at the January thing. People are feeding in the mainstream media. I have to look what is best for Minnesota and how are we going to add stuff. But I have an opinion on people. I do. I have an opinion on all candidates, but I'm not going to say what my opinion on all candidates are. There are some good things that they are providing, and there's some not good things that are providing. So let me get back to the podcast, and then we can have a Q&A after. Thank you. So that was guests on my podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, I do have a candidate in mind that I'm going to vote for, but I'm not going to say who that candidate in mind is I'm going to vote for because I have every right to keep that private because I'm in the political arena as a disability advocate for the state of Minnesota. But let me make something very clear. Everybody's talking about the Epstein files. Everybody's saying, I'm not. Yes, I'm sad what has happened. I'm an SA survivor and stuff. And I didn't get justice in the state of Minnesota. My alleged survivor is running free. My alleged rapist is running free in the state of Minnesota, and I didn't get justice. So yes, I am an SA survivor. But this is what I'm going to say. My focus is on the disability people. That is my focus. And sadly, that I'm not really seeing that both sides of the aisle right now. I think there's one that's willing to open up, but it's very hard to get Republicans to go on that aisle right now, and I'm not seeing that. And that's why I'm focusing on the disability people, and then I will make my decision who I'm going to vote for in the primary. I will make my decision who I'm going to vote in the caucus. I have all that decision made before me, and that's private. But I'm telling you, nobody's going to know who I'm voting for. I do have my opinions on candidates, and that is absolutely my freedom of speech. But I'm not going to be attacked for it. And that's what I'm going to make very clear with candidates. You are not going to come in and attack me. You are not. Because if you do, then I have no reason to vote for you. That is my statement. You will not going to attack me. You are not going to make a spectacle while my disability people are suffering in the state of Minnesota while stuff is happening. That is number one, that I have. You can have a conversation with me. You can have everything that is positive with me. You can have a conversation offline, but you are not going to attack me because I'm worried about the disability people. And it seems like a lot of people right now are not worried about that. This fraud is going to affect a lot of people. And that is the problem that I have. And a lot of the candidates I see on both sides just don't want to bring that issue up. And that's why it's so hard for me to vote. I vote Republican every time, but when I'm trying to make a difference, I feel like there's backlash of it. And that is the problem that I have. Governor Walz did drop out for another term. He just decided to say that his third term was not capable. I know why his third term is not capable. Because he doesn't like the backlash. I called him out. Not one person have I seen, both sides have ever called the governor out. I called him out. I did. And I'm glad that I called him out. I'm so glad that I called Governor Walz out. Somebody needed to take the balls by the horn and call this man out. But sadly, we are still stuck on the fraud. We are. But how do we make sure that disability people get at their homes? How do we make sure you have to open up the Department of Human Services? And this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. If I was governor, and I'm not running for governor, so don't anybody take this the wrong way. If I was governor, I would be closing our Minnesota voters for almost a year and a half. I'll be closing our borders. You are not leaving. Refugees are not coming in. You will come the legal way. Group homes will be run by people who were born in America, born in Minnesota. I'm going to be done with all these ICS stuff, and I hate to be a jerk right here. I'm not giving it to people from foreign countries anymore. I'm not. I'm not going to give it to people to foreign countries. I'm not. I'm going to open up the Department of Human Services. I'm going to scan their fraud. I'm going to fire a whole bunch of people. I'm going to get rid of our woke judges. I am going to get rid of a whole bunch of people. And this is why nobody would want me as governor, because the stuff that I'm going to do is I'm going to revamp, restructure the Department of Human Services. I'm going to restructure guardianship. My executive orders are going to be so freaking high that people are not going to understand it. I'm opening up businesses. I'm going to be opening up. I'm going to have the fraud oversight committee. I'm going to have a fraud oversight committee in the Senate. And I'm going to have the fraud oversight committee in the House. I'm going to have it in 2 places. Okay? That is what's going to happen. There's not going to be any of, hey, we're going to solve stuff. No, that's the problem. Property taxes are going to go away. I think I have a plan with Mall of America. I think I could get rid of state taxes all in general. I really think I can. Because I could do something with Mall of America. And the reason what I could do is I could put a tariff on them. Mall of America needs to pay their fair share. Corporate people need to pay for share. I'm going to lower the corporate tax. I'm going to lower it to probably, I hate to do this, I'm going to lower probably our corporate tax to 0.1%. 0.1%. Yes, you heard me. 0.1%. Free healthcare, that is not going to be coming to illegals at all. That's going away. That's going to the American people who qualify. SNAP to the American people that qualify. I would lower our taxes right down to 1%. I would get rid of our state taxes, just like that, because I've looked the revenue of what Minnesota is bringing and what Mall of America is bringing. Don't get this. Mall of America has their own zip code. We get 40 million people a year at Mall of America. How many people live in the state of Minnesota? 5 million. How much money does Mall of America make? Over $250 million. Okay? Has anybody looked at the math of that? Has anybody? No. Nobody has looked at the math. So no, I'm not running for governor, but that was what I would do as governor. I would shut down our borders. Shut down our borders. Immigration will be shut down. You cannot immigrate to Minnesota anymore until we clean this up. And then, day one on 2027, if I was elected, I'll be working with the Trump administration, and ICE is coming here. And guess what? Mayor Jacob Frey, if you are not going to apply with the federal law enforcement, I'm going to fire you. I am going to fire you. So bad I'm going to fire you and stuff. I'm going to fire you. And I think that is the problem that I've seen. That is the problem that I really am seeing is I'm going to fire Jacob Frey. If he is not willing to work with federal investigation, ICE, for ICE to do their job, and guess what? There ain't going to be any riots in the street. If you go out, right, you can protest, but you have to protest peacefully. But if you go out and riot and stuff, you will be arrested immediately. You will be arrested immediately. Arrested immediately. Yes. Thank you, Barbie. Yes. So, yes, I will be closing down our borders. Our borders will be closed for a year. Nobody's going in. Nobody's coming in. People are going to be deported. We are going to do mass deportation. We are going to have voter ID at day one. That is another thing I haven't heard people talk about is voter ID. We're going to be done harvesting ballots. That's going to be done. We're going to have voter ID at day one. We're going to have voter ID at day one. We're going to go back in our voting machines. We're going to redistrict. That's what we're going to do. We are going to redistrict. Day one, I'm trying to executive order. We're going to redistrict the whole state of Minnesota. We're going to make it fair. We're going to make it a fair vote. And if you cheat, there's consequences if you cheat. Let's not talk about that. Cheating, you're going to be removed from office right away. You're going to be removed from office right away. And that is the problem that I don't like. I had to go and research everything with the Brad Tapke, House Representative Brad Tapke thing. That is the one thing that is going to happen is my new executive order, Brad Tapke is going to be out. He is not going to be in the House of Representatives anymore. And nobody is literally talking about that. Nobody wants to talk about how he cheated, how Scott County cheated. I don't do well with cheaters, okay? Let's talk about the other issue that we had with the Democratic Party not showing up. I should literally dock. Second of all, I'm going to dock the Democratic Party's pay for not showing up for 67, almost 3 weeks. While our tax money was paying for them to sit at home and be lazy. Yeah, you're going to be docked for that too. I'm going to be docked senior pay for 3 weeks. You ain't getting paid for 3 weeks. So you better figure out some savings because you ain't getting paid for 3 weeks. It's going to be another executive order on me because I'm not going to allow people to just go home and not come work for the Minnesota people. That is one thing that the taxpayer money needs to get a refund on it. And I'm going to make sure that they get a refund from you Democrats who decided that didn't want to show up to work for the Minnesota people because you lost the House. You were being babies. That is one thing I don't like. Second of all, I'm going to make something very clear here. I'm going to get the other person who was supposed to win for the Republicans 68, 60, was supposed to be 68, 66. He's going to be sworn in and stuff. He's going to be sworn in. I am going to swear him in because I don't deal with cheaters. If you cheat, new law is going to be coming out. If I was governor, I'm going to sign this into new law. If you cheat, the other person that ran against you automatically gets your seat. Automatically gets your seat. There's now going to be no cheating. There's now going to be none of that. I'm not going to do with cheaters. I'm not going to do with cheaters in this state. I'm not. Okay? New rule. That is going to be my new rule. If you cheat like two people on the Democratic Party has, you will lose your seats in 2027. If I was sworn in, if I was governor of Minnesota, you will be losing your seats. And what I mean by losing your seats, you are not going to have a seat. You're going to be losing them. And the Republicans that ran against you will be taking your place because you cheated. Judges, you're fired. Yeah, you're fired. You're fired. All of the judges, day one, will be removed. Like that. I'll be appointing judges that will uphold the law. I'll be working with the President of the United States to get rid of our federal judges. We're going to get rid of our Supreme Court. Yeah, we're going to play. Yes, they are horrible. I don't know. See, this is so funny. People are running for governor, but they are not talking about what are they going to do with the judges. That is the problem that I have. See, this is why I would love to be the governor of Minnesota, but I can't because there's other issues that would stop me from running in the state of Minnesota. But this is kind of the reason why that I would put this out there, is because I would get rid of all the judges. I'm firing all of them. All of them. You're gone. And I'm getting all new prosecutors. We're going to prosecute. All right, I'll try that with a straight face. Somebody said in my comments on the Slide podcast, I need to try that with a straight. Okay, hold on 1 second. Good heavens, try that with a straight face. Very well. I'm getting rid of all. I can't do that. That is hard when you tell me to try it with a straight face. Oh gosh, that was the laugh. I needed that laugh. Yes, I'm getting rid of all of the judges. Number one. And first of all, nobody's going to be stealing any of my ideas. If you do, because I'm getting all of this copyrighted, okay? Okay? Capiche? Capiche, everybody? Capiche. Nobody can steal my ideas. If I find out that one candidate stole my ideas, oh boy, that I will not be happy. I will lose my crap. I will lose my crap. So, no, that was what I would do as governor. I do not believe, I don't know. I don't want to say I do not believe. I believe if we are going to save Minnesota, we need to start focusing and start helping the disability people. And that is the one focus I'm going to do in the state of Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Nate Real Midwest podcast. I am your host, Nathaniel M. Olson. And like I always say, God bless you, and let's keep Minnesota great again. Thank you.